Wings, listen up. Today's run is vitally important to our cause. Set your frequencies to Dice Time, a Star Wars Legion podcast and part of the Legion Academy Collective. Your lead wing captain today will be Ben Gentrin, and your support ship leader will be Paul Watson. Let's show them what we're made of, rebels.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Dice Time. I'm Ben Gentrin.
I'm Paul Watson.
And I'm currently out of candy in my bucket. And nobody seems to be giving trick or treat. No? Nobody's giving me any candy, Paul, and I don't know what it is. I wore a costume. I have a bucket.
It's over. It's over.
What do you mean?
You're too late.
It's not too late, is it?
Yes, we're moving on to the next season, Ben.
But how late am I?
Weeks late.
Oh well. All right.
Maybe next year.
Oh, well, here's some gum on the road. Maybe I'll just have some of this. I'll warm it up first. Well, today we've got lots of good stuff to talk about. We're going to deep dive into a brand new game that AMG has dropped, which was specifically the reason that we delayed, because we had insider information and knew that announcement was going to happen and wanted to talk. I'm just kidding. I wish I could claim that. But we have a new AMG released game that we can talk about. But first, Paul, seeing as none of the people on this planet seem to understand the concept, I was thinking maybe you and I could talk charity.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let me just toss this bucket to the side here and just forget about it. So, Paul, charity events. I hear that you've done one.
Yeah, it's something that I really like in my area. My local game store, other games have been doing it for a while, and so I tried my hand. It was not a Star Wars one. It was a Lord of the Rings one. But we've run them at our store for Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, Warhammer guys run them. And these usually happen every year around this time, around that, fall, Thanksgiving, holiday time frame. And we usually have a variety of things. We have a local food bank that comes in and brings some barrels that we can fill up with food items, and I guess I just kind of start there. Instead of your normal buy-in for a tournament, we do food items. So instead of paying your $5 buy-in, bring $5 worth of canned goods or non-perishable food items. So you do that. It's something that a lot of people really enjoy coming. Obviously with charity events, it takes a little bit of the pressure off as far as the competitive nature, or you can. I mean, I guess you don't have to, but that's what we tend to do in ours. Put the focus on giving back a little bit, and people usually seem to enjoy that a lot. And, gets a lot of people out that might not normally come to the events as well. So got to see some faces that haven't seen in a while. That's pretty typical. It's one of the events that I will try to go play other games, even though I don't play them a lot or super competitively, because then I know,
because of the nature.
Yeah, because of the nature of it, because of I know that my entry fee is going to something good, even though I'm going to get stomped on all my games because I don't play the game. It just adds that little extra that I really enjoy. And so every TO that's at the store for us has their own little things that they do, but our community is also really good. I find that if you're trying to run a charity event, you could do something like food pantries. You could do just monetary donations could go to a charity of your choice. You could do even Christmas is coming up, right? You could do a charity event that you get toys for kids, underprivileged kids, or kids that families that are having a hard time, or things like that. And honestly, it doesn't even have to be around the holidays. I just know this is a time where people are more in the spirit of giving, but you could do this at any time, because there's always people in need, for sure. And so it's something that like I said, I always like doing. I like running the events. I find that everyone kind of comes out of the woodwork to help out. I've asked local guys who have like 3D printers or have little like their own little like web stores where they do 3D printing or painting or things like that, and I have not had any issue getting like donations from them. I usually will take like a business card or something if they're not coming to the event, and take like a stack of business cards and put them there, and I'll do a little advertise for them like, hey, this prize was donated by such and such, and they have this cool web store, go check them out, here's a card, like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So they get a little bit back too, but they also, I mean, I had tons of stuff. I printed out some stuff myself, which was fairly cheap. 3D printing nowadays, you can do a whole lot of stuff. We had like a dice tower. We had a couple guys print out some like resin models, and we did just like a big raffle. You don't have to do a raffle. You could do all kinds of stuff. However you want to do it, you can kind of set it up. I did on purpose to make my event even more geared towards giving and less geared towards competitive nature. I let people buy re-rolls at the beginning of the day, and so if they donated $20, they would get 20 re-rolls for the entire day.
That's fun.
Or 20 re-rolls a game. It was a lot. 20 re-rolls a game for the entire day. Yeah, but it was, you paid your $20 up front, and that's what you got. And honestly, I had 16 players at my event, and I think 14 of them did the $20.
That's amazing.
Yeah, everyone was very into it, and it just made it fun, right? There were some people who blew all their re-rolls in like the first turn of the game. and there's other people who are just holding it for the end of the game, like waiting for that big moment where they really needed something to happen. And there's a lot of fun
20
stuff.
20 re-rolls is a lot, but I'd still be like, yeah, I gotta save it.
Yeah, and for this game, it was single dice re-rolls. It wasn't like a whole handful.
Okay.
So it wasn't.
That's what I pictured. Actually.
Yeah, no, it wasn't like big handfuls of dice. So yeah, this game is a little bit different. So
okay.
The 20 could go by really fast.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm imagining 20 single die re-rolls in 40K, and yeah, that would go pretty fast.
Yeah. So it was fun. We also had, I made at the last minute, I was like, you know what? I want to add something else, because I'm doing all these raffles for all these. I had like objective markers. I had a little terrain set. I had a big dice tower. I had models printed out from multiple different people. Someone painted some of their models. I had some just cool like acrylic objective markers. Like I had all kinds of stuff. And so I just did this like raffle, and everyone got tickets for coming and donating food for a raffle. I had people also that I did like a bounty board at the last minute, and so there were like fun things that you could do, whether it was something that was good happened to you in the game or something terrible happened to you in the game. There were some bounty like things that just like whoever did that first got some extra tickets to put in the raffle and stuff too.
Nice.
One of them was like a character dying from fall damage, and I will tell you, one of the games, one of the guys like got the fall damage, but then another one of the bounties was the first person to have like, it's essentially half of their army die. Well, one of the guys who was there, one of the kids, I was actually playing. I had to play with him because there was an odd number of people who came. But I was playing with him, and he took his entire army up onto this wall, and he just jumped them all off of this wall and killed them himself, so that way he would get the extra tickets.
What is it? The Brendan Bourne School of Bounty Hunting.
Yes, absolutely. I heard that he did a really good job with that. When he went to an event,
he didn't get every single one, but like everyone very decisively decided he like swept the bounty board.
Yeah.
I don't know if I actually told that story on the podcast or not, but there was a Legion event we went to in Indy where he went specifically just to bounty hunt, and he made a list, catered it exactly to as many bounties as he could accomplish, and just set out. He was like, I'm just setting out to lose all 3 of my games and bounty hunt as much as possible. And
Yeah,
he claimed like 4 or 5 of the bounties, I think, that were out of like maybe 7 or 10 or something. But he got the majority of them.
yeah, and I think those bounty boards are just another way for people to get like involved. And for this charity event, I had my own like set of bounty things that
Uh-huh.
could happen throughout the day, but I also let people donate more money to put other bounties on there. And
Oh,
so,
yeah,
like for
that's fun.
instance, Bob Swain, who we all, I mean, some people may know from this podcast early on, he was up at our event, and someone put a bounty on both of his characters very early on in the day to kill his like leader of his army, and and then another hero in his army. And so
That's
there was a
fun.
couple people like that who just, it just added some fun and add some extra things to the game. Like, if you're playing Legion, it's like, okay, someone put a bounty to kill my Luke Skywalker. You might not normally even kill Luke in a game.
Sure.
You might try a little harder knowing that there's a bounty on,
Yeah, right.
on him. So that was fun. You could do all kinds of fun things to get people involved, and everyone had a really good time. There was some really good, prize support from the community. Again, a lot of local guys donated a lot of things. Um, so I said I had 15 players, and then I was the 16th
Mm.
that added to that. So not that's a pretty good turnout. I was still
That's
missing
a good
quite a
turnout.
few people that I would normally expect to see or who were planning to come, but then had some stuff come up. That's pretty normal, to any event.
Sure.
Um, but even with that amount, we donated. Um, it was 197 food items, and it was $296.
Wow. That's pretty good.
Like, yeah, it was huge. It was just so awesome to see everybody like come and have a good time and, donate so much to other people who are in need. And so, um, like I had a prize too for like the person who brought the most food items. Like, yes, you only have to bring $5 worth in to get in,
Mhm.
but whoever brings the most is going to have an extra like bonus. And so I 3D printed out some stuff and gave that to the person who
197 food items.
yeah, so
That's
just
no small that's no small feat.
yeah,
That's pretty amazing.
from 15 people,
Yeah, for
like
15 people. Yeah, that's the other thing. I'm just like, wow, that's
yeah.
crazy.
And again, that like almost $300 too is from 15 people.
Yeah.
It was just so awesome to see, and it's so awesome to see like the community come out and show support for
Mhm.
other people. And I will tell you, the store itself had, I want to say it was 4 of those big like blue barrels, like plastic barrels
Mhm.
that were just full of food. And that's from our event plus like some of the other events, like the Warhammer events and stuff that went on. And it was just awesome
That's
for them
awesome.
to, be able to come back and take all of those items back. And it's something that, again, my local store they've made it a regular thing that the TOs just do it. It's not something that's forced on us or anything, but
Mhm.
everyone, I think all the TOs, we kind of have this just like agreement that it's just a really good thing to do, and it's always a lot of fun. Everyone really enjoys it, and it's just something different. So if you're ever in you're thinking about running an event, maybe, or maybe you are running events and you're just like, oh man, it's just like the same competitive grind over and over and over again. You just need something to change it up. Think about it. Think about doing a charity. And again, it doesn't have to be around the holidays. It could be any time. I mean, we donated all of our stuff to a food bank this time, but we've also talked about, there's homeless shelters, there's,
Mhm.
support for veterans out there in multiple different forms. There's all kinds of avenues that you can utilize to find a good cause, like maybe that your group is passionate about, um, and donate towards them. And so I would encourage anybody who, even if you're thinking about running an event, even if it's going to be your first one, try to do a charity one and see. Like, I think that you'll get some good turnout and some people who are willing to, again, come out, donate some money, donate some of their time, have a good time rolling dice and playing games, but then also giving back to the people around them.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think you may even bring out some people who wanna, who've been meaning to learn the game, and they may just come out, just because it's a charity event, and then maybe learn from there. Um, the other thing that I was thinking about when you were talking about it was like, if you needed to like set something up, or you needed to collaborate with those people, you will be surprised with how well, like, if you plan stuff normally and you're like, oh man, it's so hard to get these people to do this, or to organize this, that, and the other. I've found, and it's a nice comforting fact for me, for humanity, that when it's related to charity or some kind of donation to those in need, people really do just come out of the woodwork to help you.
They really do.
If you set it up, like we were just doing uh or we weren't, but one of the communities that I live near recently did a community kind of Thanksgiving style dinner that was just like, reached out to all these local businesses and local churches, and we're just like, hey, we're just going to do this like big dinner downtown, like out on the street, for like anybody to just come and have. And the guy who was organizing it said that he had like, everybody that he reached out to like met his expectations of like donations and like what to bring, and exceeded them, and then did like so much more than what he asked for to get that event together. And so when you were talking about, like, oh, I never have any problems getting anything like from anybody, like trying to set this event up. Like, yeah, like it's a comforting fact to know that like when you're setting up a charity event or something just for those in need, like the best in humanity really does come out.
Oh, definitely. It was one of those things where everyone wanted to, like you talked about, everyone was like very ambitious about like, oh, I could do this and this and this and this and this. And so
Yeah.
we had to kind of like figure out, okay, like, can I have you do just these few things? Can I have you just do these few things? Because everyone wants to just jump in
Do
and do
everything.
all of it. Yeah,
Right.
it's great. Everybody's always willing to help out, and I had people bring tables of terrain just for like, I didn't necessarily need it. My store has plenty of terrain that I could have made tables with,
Hmm.
but again, everyone was super quick to jump on and be like, oh yeah, I want to do something. Like, what can I bring? Like, what can I do?
Hmm.
And yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I would definitely encourage people, like, give yourself a little time to plan it. I will say, compared to a normal event, I usually run events at my store monthly, and I can
Hmm.
usually throw together an event pretty quick and just like, okay, we're gonna do this points level. Here's gonna be like what kind of we're doing, whatever. But like a charity event does take a little bit more planning, just if you are gonna get some donations from other people, and you're gonna think through like some a bounty board things, or those kinds of
Right.
event details that
Hmm.
might take a little bit longer. So I would keep that in mind. Don't try to like, oh, we're gonna do a charity event this weekend. Give
Yeah.
yourself a
Right.
little time, because again, people want to help, and if you give them a little time, I think you'll be surprised like how much people want to contribute.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, give people a little bit of time so that they can prepare for that kind of thing. There's a lot of events that you can't just spring on somebody at the last minute.
Yeah, and especially if you want
I mean,
people
you
to come
could, I
travel for
suppose,
your
but
event.
it'd be better. Yeah, I was gonna say it'd be better for turnout and donations and everything if you give people the time.
Yeah, like I had people from different states coming to my event, and
Wow.
yeah, it was a good time. I think I was gonna have someone from Chicago, but a couple of people from Chicago weren't able to make it.
Hmm.
But so I had people from Indiana, multiple different cities in Indiana. I had people from Michigan, and I had people from Ohio, like all
That's
come.
awesome.
So yeah, it was, you give people enough time, you give them enough heads up, like they will come.
Yeah. Like any tips or any other tips or anything you have for running your own charity event, Paul?
um I think, again, just we've talked about this already, but people are willing to help you. It
Yeah.
can be daunting too when you have all this stuff going on. It's okay to reach out to someone who's like, hey, I want to help. I want to do something. Be like, hey, could you help me talk to a couple people about getting, donations or something. Like, you don't have to do all of it on your own. Get some help from some of those people who are willing to step up or are really passionate about it, that are in your community, because again, there are people out there too that will be happy to help you.
Yeah, and if you can get people like the 40K community to do charitable events, then I think anybody can. I'm just that was a low blow. I own Warhammer.
Like I said, my store does all kinds of different charity events with different, game systems, and
I think that's awesome.
they always seem to have a really good turnout, and it's really good to see. It's inspiring when you go and you see other games, doing them too, or hearing about the charity events. And I would definitely encourage people to set one up, even if you're doing normal events. Like, try a charity event once and just see how you like it. I will tell you, at least from my experience, that I feel so much more gratification from running the charity event than running a really well run competitive event.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Even if everything didn't go as smooth as you might hope during the charity event. Like, I would rather run a charity event that doesn't go all that well, as far as like logistics, than a competitive one that goes off, perfectly. It feels so good at the end of it. Everyone had smiles on their face. Everyone had a good time. Everyone was telling me they couldn't wait to come back for the next one, and so it was really good. I would encourage people to try it for sure.
That's really awesome. Yeah, I should probably get something like that set up for the next. I was gonna say the next month, but I don't know if we're meeting the next month at our store, because the day that we would go falls like really close to like holiday travel for everybody. So they're probably not doing something next month, which that's fine. Well, maybe we'll do it like the month after or something like that. That'd be a fun thing to set up. I'll talk to my store owner about that.
Yeah, for sure. And I did mine early, like it was, based around like holiday stuff, but I had to do mine in October because my normal weekend that I run events is later in the month, is my regularly scheduled weekend. And so obviously, right, I'm running into holidays. So keep that in mind too. I know you might want to do it around like a Thanksgiving or a Christmas, but keep in mind that other people might be traveling too. So it's okay to do a charity event, not, so close to the holidays.
True.
And again, like places like food banks, they always need food. It's not just around the holidays. So.
Oh yeah. Can confirm.
I like that little pun that you threw in there.
Ah, yeah. Yes.
All right, that's enough.
Well, it looks like you gathered a small little crowd here, and that bucket I threw to the side, it looks like some people have put some money in here, so maybe we'll donate that.
Let's do it.
So, aside from this, you also had another you have a new event that's going to be coming up at your store. It's not a charity event, but it is another event idea if you're looking to do something for your store.
Yeah.
So is this, can we officially go ahead and call it an Escalation League?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. This one will be interesting to see, just kind of like how it goes. I just got word recently we're doing a Legion League that I jumped in and am going to play in, and we're starting at 500 points, and I think we're going to play for, it would be 4 weeks. And so far, what I know of it is that every week we're going to add 100 points. So we're starting at 500 at the skirmish level, and then we're going to add 100 points every week. And you just, we're going to play like random people. It doesn't necessarily matter about your wins or losses or things like that. But the leagues that have been happening in my local community are more focused, not necessarily again on winning, but on the community, right? Getting people into the game, getting people who maybe like have the game, and want to learn a little bit more, want to get some, reps in. this they can have like a scheduled person that they're gonna meet up with and play a game, and it's more based on getting out and playing your game than winning your game. You still get, I think it's like 1 point for winning your game, but you get 3 points for just playing your game.
Oh, that's cool.
So, and then you get like, like a point for having your army painted. So like encouraging, some hobbying in there too.
Yeah.
And then usually at the end of our leagues, and they do these at our store for different, this is the first Legion one that we're running like this, but they run for like 40K does one. Age of Sigmar just finished one. So now we're doing a Legion one. I think I'm going to probably do a Lord of the Rings one coming up in the new year, kind of like this. So again, encouraging people just to get out and play games more so than necessarily the competitive nature. But then at the end of your however many weeks you're doing it for, we usually also have like a little tournament of the league. And lots of times, depending on your turnout, what our leagues will do as well is they'll have for the tournament, they will have like when you sign up for the league, you sign up as either like a novice player or an expert player, and they try to pair you during the league. If you're a newer player, they pair you with someone who knows the game really well, so that way they can help teach you and go through the games if you need that help. And then at the end, though, when you have the tournament at the end, they split up into 2 different brackets. So all the expert players play each other, and then all the novice players then
Oh,
play each
okay.
other. And
That's a neat
so,
system.
yeah, there's 2 different. So when you're going to the tournament, it's like, okay, what have you learned over the past 4, 5, 6 weeks, whatever it is, and see how you fare against the other new players. But when you showed up the first week and you're like, wow, I'm a new player. I've never played, like a 40K before or
You
a
need
Star
a
Wars Legion before. Like, I kind of know the rules because I've read through the rule book or I've watched some videos, whatever, but I haven't really played a bunch. So hopefully this, person can help me. And everyone's been, again, the focus is very much the community and getting people involved in out playing. And so,
it's good to have that Jedi Master with you when you first start, and then
yeah,
go whale on the other Padawans once you've learned.
yeah. And it just, it has added a lot to the community and doing those things and getting people back involved. Legion in our store has had, I would say, a little bit of a slump in the recent past, but we have, I want to say it's 14 people signed up for this league. So again, pretty good turnout for the league, and I'm excited to see. There's some people that I haven't seen at all in our community that are coming out to play, and there's some people that I haven't seen in a while that are coming back out and playing.
Nice.
So it'll be good, and I like that atmosphere too of like a league because it's getting people out every week or two. However you want to schedule them, you can do whatever. Ours are typically once a week. I know some places will do like once every 2 weeks just to give people extra time because life gets in the way sometimes of our little toy soldiers, which are super important, right? So
life finds a way to get in the way.
Yeah. So yeah, I was gonna play my game yesterday, but my opponent was not feeling well, so I don't have a report out on my game, unfortunately. But
shame.
Next time I'll probably be able to talk about most of the games and how they went. So
that's true.
Yeah, I'm excited to get
how was the whole, or how's your list?
I'm going back and forth. I don't know what I want to run, but my the list that I had created for yesterday, which is probably what I'll just stick with because I want to play with some stuff that it's been a while since I've gotten to the table.
Everything's rusty.
Yeah, so I was gonna play some Rebels. I haven't played. I honestly have only played Han before he got changed.
Oh, buddy.
And so yeah, I really want to get Han to the table again. So
you
I was
will
gonna
love him.
Yeah, at skirmish I was gonna run a Han and a Chewie, and then I had a Rebel Trooper unit with Z6, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly. And then I had a Fleet Trooper unit because I have my little SWAT team unit
It
that I
sounds.
created. I
Oh
think I
yeah, that's
talked
true.
about a while back.
Sounds dangerously close to the hot and chewy list I run, but continue.
So a fleet trooper unit with a scatter gun, the
Uh
extra
huh.
body, and I believe I put in impact grenades just in case, because I don't have a whole lot of like anti-armor
Sure.
capabilities in the list. And then of course a bus to put that SWAT team in. Really, I shouldn't say bus. I just say my like armored personnel carrier that I usually put that fleet trooper squad in to jump out and unload. And the bus has I think quad laser cannon, the gonk, and the tactician, of course, because that's still a super powerful upgrade.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was just a little, I think a little 5 activation um, list, but
That's awesome.
have some fun with it.
Yeah, I was gonna say it sounds very fun. I've had people tell me that they've had trouble with the AA5 on the skirmish board because it's too small.
Yeah.
Board's too small for the too big of a car, but give it a shot. Try 'em
Yeah,
out.
it does have a big base, right? It's going to be difficult. The other list I was thinking was kind of like, oh, the equivalent, but for clones and doing a lat with a shotgun phase 1
Oh sure.
trooper in the lat, and then a couple of bark speeders, and then just like another clone trooper and I think a clone commander.
Yeah,
So
that sounds like a used skirmish list.
yeah,
All that
like
all that
I
armor.
just some fun stuff. And it'll be interesting as we go, because there's so much stuff I want to get to the table. Like I haven't had the chance to play um, the like new Wookiee Chieftain yet, and I want to
Oh
get
yeah.
them to the table at some point. Obviously, we got our relatively new releases in the IGs and Mando out that
I just got
I'd
mine
be.
painted up.
Yeah, I did. That's one of the reasons I didn't have them like run them this time, because I haven't put mine together yet, and painted them and all of that. So I need to do that so I can get them to the table as well. So yeah, I'm interested. Maybe getting some droids to the table, because I haven't played droids in a long time, and I got all these new. Like
You have enough?
I haven't played. Oh yeah, I have tons of droids, but I just haven't ever like played them. Got all the
That's
spider
fair.
droids and.
That's my main problem is I don't have them. I have I have like almost enough to run a skirmish force of droids, I think.
Yeah,
I
I'm
just
just.
Separatists is the faction that I specifically didn't buy that much of it. And then at one point I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to go in on this specific separatist list because I love Cad Bane and I want to play Cad Bane." And then they made Cad Bane Empire and I was like, "All right, see ya." And your one selling point is gone. Goodbye, separatists.
Yeah. I guess that's the other thing too, is I haven't gotten the new, pikes and
Yeah,
all of them. So I
they're worth
haven't.
the fun go if you give them a chance.
Yeah, they're ones that I don't own yet, but I'm probably gonna get them at some point with their Mandalorians and all of
Oh
that.
yeah.
Like that's just gonna be a cool box too. And so yeah, there's just a lot of stuff. I mean, there's always. That's my problem with Legion, is I want to try so many different lists and so many different
Oh sure.
like
There's only
things
so
that.
many hours in the day and so many days in the week.
Yeah, and it's hard to get all of them to the table. I mean, I also still want to go back and put some more Fluttercrafts on the table, because I enjoyed the first time I played with
Oh
those and
yeah.
haven't played them for a while yet. So yeah, there's all kinds of stuff that that's what's cool about I guess Legion, about our games, right? Is like you could just play so many different iterations, even if you only own one faction, right? You could make so many different combinations and
Oh
different
yeah.
things to try out and play and have fun with. You can go armor heavy, you can go trooper heavy, you can go hero heavy. You could do whatever you want. Um, And I think leagues that's where my brain kind of like gets overload is during leagues. So I was like, I can do anything because it's not a like super crazy tournament where I have to like where I don't feel like I need to be worried about winning the game. Like
Right.
I could take an 800.6 activation list if I wanted to because it's a league game and who cares?
Right.
So just having fun with it. So that's the one thing I do like about leagues too, is it takes a little bit of that pressure off that I feel like a lot of people, I'm talking about myself for one, like gets into. It's like, oh, I want to take this fun list, but it's like, well, but I also want to win.
Right.
So how can I make my
How can
fun
I have
thing?
both of that
Yes, how
happen?
can I do
Yeah.
both of these things? And with the league, I just don't feel the pressure. It's like, is Han and Chewie, are they going to stand up to, a huge Wookiee list or Mando and IGs? I don't know, but I'm going to run them and have a good time with it. So,
And that's the good vibes you should always bring to the table.
yeah, for sure. I mean, it's something that I think we all should strive for all the time, right? But I know it's difficult sometimes. So getting into leagues and things like that can definitely be helpful for that kind of mindset to get you in a mindset of more, I'm going to run what I want to run because it's going to be fun, thematic, whatever it might be, whatever your cup of tea is for that, and not feel as much of that pressure to, I have to go all the way.
Right. Totally. Well, Paul, as it would turn out, I've got an alert on my phone or datapad here that that says that the Legion community is now falling apart into absolute chaos, and that is because AMG has announced a new product, not related to Legion at all, called Star Wars Shatterpoint. So now this is the Shatterpoint of the Legion community, apparently.
That's what it sounds like.
I was going to say it's been very divisive these past couple days, or decisive? Divisive. Editor, cut all that out. It's been very split in the Legion community. There's a lot of people who are excited for this announcement, and there's a lot of people who have a bunch of salt in their mouth, some reasonably and some unreasonably, about this announcement. So,
yeah.
Shatterpoint, in case you have not heard, is AMG's newest product that they've unveiled, and they showed it off in a small little teaser trailer as of time of recording this week, a couple days ago. And the idea behind it is it's basically Star Wars Marvel Crisis Protocol. It is a skirmish-based game that is set to, I believe, the same scale or similar scale to Marvel Crisis Protocol, because the bases that those characters in the trailer were on were very similar to that of the look of the Marvel Crisis bases. So I'm guessing it's about the same scale as that, and it's a like fewer model count skirmish game for Star Wars.
Yeah.
I because I haven't seen the gameplay, I don't know how to describe it any better than that. Now there were a lot of questions that people had that some of which got answered. I won't say most, but some of which got answered. First and foremost, it is not just a Star Wars skin on Marvel Crisis Protocol. So it is not just, I mean, maybe overall it is, but not literally. It's not going to have the exact same mechanics as Marvel Crisis Protocol, which honestly I was a little disappointed in, but I understand, don't just reskin your game, I guess. So good on them for that, but also bad on them for that. I wish I wish I could have made Darth Vader fight Captain America or something cool. I want it. I'm still gonna find a way to do it probably. But there was that. People were also asking if it's the same scale as Legion, which it very much, and I didn't get that. I got the vibe from the video that no, I don't think it's going to be the same scale at all. So I think it's going to be a little bigger than Legion models. Kind of like how Marvel Crisis Protocol is. Weird that we can keep coming back to that and using that as a point of reference.
Yeah.
So yeah, it looks like it's gonna. They've left little comments here and there about the game, about its development, about what it's gonna be like, when we're gonna see it. Um, so there's just a lot floating around right now. I'd say a lot of the chaos that I was talking about is coming from people were not people were thinking that you're releasing a new game now. This is a smaller company. This isn't Games Workshop where they have like a million games covered and a million employees doing a million different projects. This is uh a much smaller, I don't want to say a small company, but a much smaller group than that. And they've, before this announcement, had like 5 games under their belt, 4 of which they just inherited like less than 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So, or three games, 4 under their belt, something like that. Yeah. So I think so. Shatterpoint is their 5th game, I want to say. I could be wrong. But Paul, you were telling me, that they said that this game had been in development since before the merger happened.
Yeah, so I went back and re-looked at that because I wanted to wrap my head around it as well as people have been talking about it. And I went back and watched their video again right away at the beginning of their video. And again, I am taking what they're saying, as truth, because obviously I wasn't there developing the game or, being a part of that. But
I didn't think
they
you were, but
mentioned-
now I'm suspicious.
But at the beginning of that video, it's in the first 30 seconds. They say that that this game that they are excited to announce that they've been working on, this has been in the works for like 2.5 to 3 years. So when they got all of the games from FFG over in their department, it was 2020, or at least that's when the like announcement or whatever was, I believe, like November 2020. So that was 2 years ago. So they had been already working on this previous to that, it would seem, if that
Yeah.
all is lining up correctly. So it's interesting. Like, I know that a lot of people are worried about what does that mean for the other games. Like, there's a lot of Armada players. Like, I like Armada 2, and it was nice to see like some new stuff come out for Armada, and then it kind of died off there. And so they, there's that worry, right? That not only is is Armada ever going to get any attention again, or is that going to be the fate of Legion now? Like, oh, there's another Star Wars miniatures game, that is, I'm going to say boots on the ground, right? Like it's characters, it's troops, that kind of thing in a different scale. Is that just going to replace Legion? Like, I know that that's a lot of the fear, right? And there's so much unknown. That's what's hard for me, and I can echo that for other people too. It's just not knowing, right? Not knowing what's going to happen. But I think the big thing is just not even knowing what the game's like.
Yeah.
Because if the game is going to be kind of like Marvel Crisis Protocol, which is what it kind of looks to be, the core set looks kind of similar on what like Marvel Crisis Protocol was. The scale, like you talked about, seems similar. If it's going to be like a Marvel Crisis Protocol game, here's the thing. That's going to fit a completely different like niche than Star Wars Legion does.
Yeah.
They're going to be completely different games. It seems like Shatterpoint is going to be a little more hero focused, and so those people who want to run those 4 hero lists of Han, Chewie, Leia, Luke, maybe Shatterpoint is going to fit that role for them, so they can play that. But then when they want to play the troops and the vehicles and that kind of stuff, we're going to come back to Legion, right? Because it appears as though Shatterpoint is not going to have any vehicles or anything like that. It's going to be clearly focused or center focus on the heroes, the big heroes, and maybe some troops here and there, but that's not the focal point. It almost kind of reminded me of it too, and I know I mentioned this to you earlier is it kind of reminded me of if anybody played or has seen the game Star Wars Duels, I believe it was called, and I think it came out in like the early 2000s. I think that's what Ben and I were kind of talking about, what we thought it might have come out.
The
And
art made me think it came out in the 80s, and then when I looked at the late, and then when I looked at like the card art and stuff in there, I was like, oh no, this had to come out at least after 2002.
it's a game that's been around for a while, but it's one of those that you had like your hero, like if you brought Obi-Wan as your character that you were playing, Obi-Wan would come with two of his clone troopers. And so the main focus of your little tiny squad there was Obi-Wan, right? But he did some cool things and had some cool interactions with the clone troopers, and they could do some stuff too, but Obi-Wan's your center point. But then you also might be able to pick a team that was Han and Chewie, and that would be it. They wouldn't have any troops with them. It would just be the two of them, which would make sense thematically, right?
Yeah.
So I wonder if this game is going to be something more like that, right? Like you're going to get, you know, Obi-Wan, Anakin, Ahsoka, or whatever, that if you pick one of them, they come with a couple of troops, or maybe you pick them and you can pick a couple of troopers. Maybe it's where you can just pick whatever hero. It's kind of like a Marvel Crisis Protocol, right? Like if I want to take Obi-Wan and like 4 different, you know, named clone troopers, like I could do that. Or I could take Obi-Wan and Anakin and Ahsoka, like all in the same army if I wanted, or, you know, same little group if I wanted to.
Yeah.
So it'll be, again, we don't know anything about the gameplay or list building or anything like that. I mean, the thing that we saw is we saw what appeared to be a couple of different, what I have seen from people online kind of speculating too, is it looks like maybe like 4 different factions. I'm saying factions, but maybe using the Crisis Protocol terminology of like affiliations. In what they
4?
showed in the movie, right? Like they showed Maul and some extras. They showed some different Jedi and their extras. So who knows? And that's the thing. I think the unknown is what is killing people right now. Is we just have no idea, right? We
Yeah.
have no idea what's going to come and what to expect from the game.
But one thing I wanted to touch on. So since this has been in development for so long, and people were saying like, you know, when this trailer dropped, they were like, oh great, now there's going to be less resources going to our favorite Star Wars games or whatever. Well, here's the thing. This game was in development for so long that those resources were probably already allocated. And if anything, resources probably came off of that game to have to pick up the slack with Legion, X-Wing, and Armada when they inherited those. Because that wasn't like, I don't think that was their plan. Well, like, I think it may have been a point where if they knew that they were getting those 3 games, they might not have like started Shatterpoint in the first place. Well, I mean, they probably would, because like you said, it fills a different niche, and obviously they could have inherited those 3 games, and then they could have just canned Shatterpoint if they wanted to. But they
Yeah.
didn't. But they chose not to. So that means that those resources were already there. I can say I don't think that you're gonna get less support from your favorite Star Wars games than you already have, just because you know what Shatterpoint is now. If anything, I'd say you know where your resources are already allocated. You just know what the resources are getting allocated to already now. Like they were already there. You just didn't know where they were because you know it was kept in the darkness, kept in secret. You didn't know this project was going on.
Yeah.
So I don't think so. Yeah, I don't expect to see less support for Legion or X-Wing or Armada or anything just because Shatterpoint's been announced. I think those resources were already there. I think Legion, X-Wing, and Armada took resources from Shatterpoint probably, if anything, and that we're gonna see, you know, a constant, steady rate of what we've already been seeing. So.
And I think over the next couple
yeah.
of months, like we're gonna hear more about the game, right? And then it'll give us some information on what that's gonna be like and where it's gonna fit in with Legion. And I think that's the key thing. I think it's gonna fit in with Legion, not
I think there's a way it could, yeah.
take Legion away. It's just going to be another game that is alongside that people can choose to play. I mean, think of all the stuff that they've already announced um for Legion. You know, like we've seen pictures of Ewoks and you know
Oh yeah,
and like
there's a
the
lot already that we know is coming out next year just for Legion alone. There's already a lot.
yep, battle forces, like more battle forces. Like I can't imagine they put out 4 battle forces and they're just going to be done, right? Like we're going
Yeah,
to
no.
see more of those because people want to play those thematic ways as
Yeah,
well. There's going to be continued Legion for sure. I
yeah.
don't there's so much that they haven't come out with. Like we will continue to see Legion for a while. I just think this is going to be another avenue, like I said, for people to kind of scratch that itch if they want to play certain characters. And like I know for one, they said in the video, like Mace Windu is one of those characters. Like I want Mace Windu so bad in Legion, but you better believe I'm
Yeah,
gonna be excited that he's in Shatterpoint.
yeah.
Like,
I was gonna say the most salt everyone had was that Shatterpoint is gonna have Republic Commandos before Legion does.
yeah, and and
But
it'll
hey, if
get
you think
there.
about it, Shatterpoint's technically they've had that in the pipeline longer. So,
Well, and the thing is I think Legion's gonna get there, right?
oh,
Legion's
I'm sure
gonna
it will.
eventually get Clone Commandos.
I
Like
was gonna
we
say
have,
I don't know how many more years it'll be. I can't imagine it would be the. If you asked me back when Clone Wars came out if we would have Commandos by 2022, by the end of 2022, I would have told you yes. But we
right.
don't.
Yeah, we'll get there. And honestly, it's going to be one of those things. I think there is going to be some fear of the unknown for a little while.
Yeah,
There's going to be some worry about what it's going to look like. We
I feel like
first
the
off we have
Legion. I feel like the Legion community is in this in that toxic relationship stage where they're the community is the type of guy who's or girl whoever has been burned before, uh like in a huge way, and now they're just looking for any excuse out of their new partner to just bail. They're just looking for any reason to be like, nope, this is over, sky's falling, game's over.
yeah.
I'm just getting ready for it now.
And there is an element, right, of protecting yourself too, like, oh well, if it's gonna die, I'm gonna like try to start preparing myself now for that rather
Yeah,
than and I get that like as well. But at the same time, I guess I want to bring some attention to this too. I don't know how many people like know of this, but um there is a game that was out a long time ago called Heroescape. It has like a big cult following, but it died after a while, and the community loved it so much that it kept going. Like there were huge events at conventions, and like Gen Con always had a big one. I never played it, but I know some people now that I've talked to that have. But their community came up with their own like rules and things like that for models, and in the 3D printing world people were able to just like 3D print the models that they didn't have access to anymore
hmm
because they weren't coming out. And I think that went on so long. Heroescape is coming back out. They're making a whole new line of Heroescape now.
that's such an
And
awesome. That's inspirational. That
yeah,
is
so it's like
inspirational.
even if Legion does take a back seat, there are people who, for one, love Star Wars enough and love the game enough that I could see the same thing happening, even if, and again, this is a big if Legion were to ever die, I could see it continuing on in avenues like that, where
Yeah,
a group of community members say, hey, you know what? There's still a lot of stuff that hasn't come out that we want to see in this game. We're gonna do it on our own.
yeah.
Um,
I think that's a great point to make.
these are still little Star Wars toys, man, and we all love them, right? Like that's why we're here.
Yep.
And we love Star Wars. We love playing with our little toy soldiers. And
It's the
um,
reason you and I met.
yeah, it is, and 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 now it seems like maybe the smallest thing that's keeping us together.
Oh,
Like.
Wow.
There's so much else other
I get
than
my
Legion,
relationship with Paul now.
right?
If Legion dies, apparently so does our relationship.
No,
Legion is the small string that's keeping us tied together, and as soon as
no.
it's gone,
If that's how that it came across, it's not what I meant. I meant that
no, I know, like
Legion brought us together, but
but
like
it's
if
only a
Legion
small
wasn't
part.
around, we would still be
Right.
friends.
I think I know what you meant. It was just like it seems like now it's just the small tiny thing that holds us together. I was like, well, wait a minute.
Yeah, no, I didn't mean it like
no,
that.
no,
But
I
no,
know.
it's definitely again like there are ways to keep the game going.
Yeah.
Like just because it's gone, and then there's people like me. I'm looking at right now. I'm just staring at my giant shelf of shame of Star Wars Legion. Like I have enough stuff in Star Wars Legion that I could probably run an 8-person event with all of my models.
Yeah.
And so like even if the support deteriorates a little bit, there are still people who are going to keep things going. I've seen
Yep.
multiple games, like I mentioned, HeroScape, and there's other ones too. The Lord of the Rings game that I run events for at my local store too was one that 10 years ago was dead, and it has come back and has gotten support again. And
Yeah.
it will, like, if games are out there enough and if they're good enough and people care about them enough, they will continue.
Yeah. I think it's yeah, and like you were saying earlier, I think it'll fill like a different niche for some people who wanted to do something different with Legion. Did you ever play you played the Battlefront, the new Battlefront video game?
Yes.
Or did yeah. So the new Battlefront 2 or Battlefront
Yeah.
yeah, the 2. Sorry, I'm like wow, there's been like 4 Battlefields, but there's only 2 at one time. But the newest one had like, the hero mode or whatever. So like you had uh 4 players versus 4 players and it was just all heroes. And
Yeah.
I wanted to figure out how you do that in Legion. And maybe there's a way to do it, but now I think the easy answer is just to play Shatterpoint.
Shatterpoint, right?
Yeah,
Like,
I think
and you
that's
can
now
do
like the
that.
new easy answer is just to do that.
But I think that's a good example, right? Like when
Yeah.
they had that game mode that didn't take away from Battlefront. That
Yeah,
just made a
exactly.
different way of playing different, like those heroes when you wanted to play hero version,
Right.
but that doesn't
Like
take
I
away
want to
from
play Obi-Wan, but I don't want to swing it. And this is, what people kind of say in Legion sometimes too, I want to play Obi-Wan, but I don't want to like swing at I don't want to like carve up 4 droids and then get shot to pieces by some random guy with a gun.
Yeah, or
So,
I
like,
don't
I
want
wanna
to
have a
play
lightsaber.
Obi.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, or I don't want to play Obi-Wan and then just get blasted off by a tank.
Right,
Like,
yeah. No, it's like
I
I
want
want
to
to
have
play
a duel.
Obi-Wan and then I want to duel Darth Maul.
Right. I want
Or
to
I
have
want
a
to
duel
battle
of the
General
fates.
Grievous. Yeah, right, exactly. It's like I want to do a cool lightsaber fight with these heroes. And that's another thing that I was saying that I was going to say. I think when you play Legion and you wanted to play like these hero characters, but they don't always feel like hero characters to you because at the end of the day you're playing like an army based game.
Right.
And you really want to put the power of the characters character centric on the tabletop and make them play out. I think that's going to be a really good game mode for you because how many times have you played Obi-Wan and or Anakin or someone and you put them out on the table and then like they get shot to ribbons and you're like, well, this movie never happened or this episode of Clone Wars was very sad. And you're
Right.
like and you're like, man, Obi-Wan, the real Obi-Wan would have killed all these droids and he would have, cut the real Yoda would have cut this tank in half in one slice or whatever. And it's like, but in Legion, I can't do that. Or in
Right.
Legion, my dice suck and I can't. But, yeah, so it's like, I think this game will be more, along the lines of what people are wanting if they want to really feel, the weight behind the characters. Like, Boba Fett, for example, he's not in Shatterpoint yet, but I mean, his dad is. And you can, you really want to feel like Boba Fett's this like he can go toe to toe with Jedi and just like blast through troops and stuff. I think Shatterpoint might be the answer for the hero centric lovers.
Yeah, for sure.
One other quick side point that I think it was in their release that they said, but they said that like the vibe they wanted to go for with this was like a Saturday morning cartoon, which
Yeah.
I've only ever heard from one other game. So AMG, that's a really high bar that you're going to have to hit if you claim that. You're going to have to hit the really, really high bar that Zinvaded sets for you. Claim that you want to make your game the vibe of a Saturday morning cartoon. But I think I know what they mean when, like, they I don't know why they didn't just say a movie though, because like if that's the vibe they're going for, why didn't they just say like, we want this game to feel like the epic conclusion to a movie, like with the big lightsaber duel, the big showdown between the heroes.
Yeah.
I don't know, but they want it to feel like that made me also feel like it was going to feel kind of like Marvel Crisis Protocol, because that's what Crisis Protocol feels like to me when I play it. It's like I feel like I'm watching like Earth's Mightiest Heroes, like some cartoon where like all these heroes are together fighting these villains, and
right.
It's just a fun little episodical thing.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't even watch Earth's Mightiest Heroes. I just assumed that's what it that's what it was like.
Yeah, and again, we know so little about the game right now, but we will get more as time goes on,
Yep.
and we will figure out where this is going to fit in everything else. And in the meantime, we're just going to have to enjoy Legion.
Yeah. And I was going to say, actually, if nothing else, I heard, I think it was last week that they said that they were going to, or maybe it was this week. Who cares? This is the time of recording. It'll be wrong anyway. They said that they were going to start bringing their game streams back. Either weekly or bi-weekly. I don't know what the schedule will be on that, but they said they're going to bring their game streams back, so that they're going to be showing off Shatterpoint.
Oh, for sure.
Like sometime soon, they have to be. If nothing else, Paul, you and I are both going to Adepticon, and as it would turn out, so is Shatterpoint.
Oh, we're demoing Shatterpoint.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna play a character, and you're gonna play a character, and my character's gonna beat the crap out of your character.
That could happen.
You're like, I'm hesitant to believe your story, but all right. I've never seen you do that before, so I'm hesitant to believe that, but okay.
No, I'm excited. I will obviously be going to Adepticon and trying that one out and seeing how that goes. So I'm excited. I'm excited that they'll be there. I'm excited to see what the game will be like, and it's more Star Wars.
And Paul,
it's gonna be fun.
I was gonna say, here's my and we'll kind of close with this question, but like after the whole discussion being said, on a scale of I'm not buying any of it to I'm buying all of it, where are you on Shatterpoint?
Oh gosh. Again, I'm looking at my wall of Legion shame right now.
Hey, but this is fewer models.
This question. Yes, it is fewer models, but it doesn't mean I'm going to paint them any faster.
It's a smaller wall of shame. It's only a shelf of shame.
Yeah. I don't know much about the game right now, so it's really hard to make that decision. However, I feel like 1 being I'm not getting it at all, and 10 being I'm buying every single thing that comes out, I'm probably closer to like an 8.
Yeah, I think that's a comfortable place to be at. I don't think that I'm going to be getting every single thing, but I would like to get, my favorite characters in that. And we were kind of talking about like how you can do that with Marvel Crisis Protocol, where like I have the game, I bought the core box, and then I bought, half a dozen to a dozen of my favorite characters, but there's still like I feel like 1/8 or maybe like 1/10 of the amount of characters that are out there, because they can just pump them out so fast.
Yeah.
That I'm like, but I'm okay with that. Whereas everything I feel like I'm missing in Legion, I'm like, I'm missing that. I still need to get that. I don't have that yet. Like, I don't even play Separatist. I don't even play Separatist, but I'm like, B2s, Magna Guards, the AAT. I'm missing those. Like I need to get those still. But with and that's probably just a bad notion I shouldn't be doing. But with Marvel, I never felt that way. I was just like, like I don't need this guy. I don't need this character I've never even heard of from the comics. Like I don't need this. I just want, give me my Ant-Man, give me my Iron Man, just give me what I want, and then everyone else go play the things they want.
Yeah, I think it will. And again, this is speculation, but I think it's going to lend itself to the people who are like, you know what, like Ahsoka is one of my favorites, so my list, and I don't know if these are all coming out or whatever, but like I'm gonna have in my little skirmish list for Shatterpoint is gonna be Anakin, Ahsoka, Rex, and R2. Like, and that's
Oh
gonna be my
God,
little
R2 and
squad.
Shatterpoint.
Like,
That's
right?
amazing.
Like, yeah, like how cool would that be just to
That
have
would be
that little
awesome.
group of four who like you would always see in the Clone Wars cartoons, right? Like doing stuff together, and like that's the kind of stuff that we're gonna get to see with Shatterpoint, I think,
Paul, I
and
just
it's gonna
got it.
make a lot of people happy.
Paul, I just got it.
What is it?
We're Dice Time exclusive. We're putting a patent on this. No, we're not. We can't put a patent on it. But Dice Time gave you this idea if you didn't have it before. 2v2 events with Shatterpoint or 4v4s with Shatterpoint. You just bring one character and then team up with your buddies and go against another team of buddies.
I like it.
That sounds like so much fun.
Oh yeah, just everyone controlling one character and just running around, like, yeah.
And then everyone's like, oh yeah, this person's Ahsoka, this person's Rex, this person's Anakin, and then on the other side, this person's playing Maul, this person's playing Dooku, or and maybe this guy's like all the droids or something.
Yeah,
But that sounds like so much fun.
That's the thing. It's just gonna be different, right? It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna allow people to play some different stuff. It'll be exciting to see what they share with us in the next few months. So,
speaking of sharing in the next few months, Paul, one last little announcement that I'll make. I'm not going to say what they are, but we have 2 new Dice Time promos. I will say that they're not alt art cards, because we don't have new ones of those in the we don't have new ones of those printing out just yet. But we do have 2 new Dice Time promotional items that we can do for giveaways, donate to other like events that are doing giveaways of stuff. And so yeah, more reason for you to come and see us. I won't say what they are yet because they're not in my hand, and I don't. I'm one of those people that likes to not make a whole bunch of promises before something's in my hand. So I won't say exactly what they are. Yeah, exactly. So the that I think should wrap up everything that we were going to talk about today. I don't know about you. I want to go play Marvel Crisis Protocol now. How about you?
Yeah, I just wish they had Star Wars characters.
Yeah. Hey, I got an idea we could sell to AMG. I was going to say, it was actually really funny timing because Paul out of the blue was just like, man, I want to play Marvel Crisis Protocol. And I was like, me too. You want to do that? Like after after we record the episode? And we were like, yeah, sure. And then a day later, they announced Shatterpoint.
Now it makes us want to play it even more.
Yeah, I was like, oh. So they want to suck us back in, huh? They're afraid we're going to jump Legion ship and go play Crisis Protocol and never come back.
I'm too invested in Legion to get out now.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, everybody. Well, I hope you all had a dice time in joining with us today. And next month we're going to be. I already know. One of our main topics, if not our main topic, is going to be the new heist scenario. What's dynamic exit?
Yeah,
I lost it for a moment there. Because we're going to be doing an event for that as of time of recording in a week. We're going to do that at Atomic. So the 19th, Saturday the 19th, we're gonna do that, and we will have an awesome dice time. doing dynamic exit, and we'll break down, how that scenario is played, all the tips and everything you need to know about running your own game of it or running your own event of it. So be on the lookout for that. It's not often that we know what we're going to talk about next month, as of the recording of the previous month. So just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah, that'll be fun. I'm looking forward to that event, that episode. See how that
As
plays
am I.
out.
Well, until next time, I hope you had a dice time listening with us today. Until then, I'm Ben Jetron.
I'm Paul Watson.
Go out and make today even better. Have a good night.